The 90s hold a special place in the history of bodybuilding, often called the peak of the golden era. The 90s was a time when technology was evolving, the internet was growing, and the use of advanced chemical had reached its peak. All bodybuilders had started using them, but the actual golden era was between the 80s and 90s. It was during this time that bodybuilders began lifting heavy weights, initiating a new era of training. New training techniques and philosophies started to emerge, providing us with training methods that are still used today. The golden era of bodybuilding came to an end in the early 1990s. This was when the sport started to become more about size than about aesthetics. Even then, there was a sign of aesthetics in bodybuilding, but gradually with the arrival of new bodybuilders, size overshadowed aesthetics. Now bodybuilders were focusing on inhuman size. Aesthetics started fading away, and now bodybuilders had to look massive. This era saw a shift in the aesthetic preference of both judges and audiences. While the preceding decades emphasized balance and sculpted physique, the 90s witnessed a rise in demand for mass and extreme muscularity, which introduced bodybuilders such as Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman. These athletes focused on sheer size and muscle mass, and it became evident to what extent bodybuilders could push themselves and enhance their size. The 90s also saw a surge in the use of advanced chemical substances and PEDs within the bodybuilding community, and as the bodybuilding gained mainstream popularity, it became more commercialized. The focus shifted towards marketing and sponsorship of supplements and drugs. During the 90s, some of the most iconic bodybuilders, the ones who had defined the golden era of the sport, decided to retire or reach the end of their competitive careers. But the 90s had something special. It wasn't just about looking good. These guys were warriors in the gym. Training routines were hardcore, built around compound exercises that hit multiple muscle groups at once. Bodybuilding wasn't just a hobby, it was a way of life. These guys ate, slept, and breathed iron. The passion spilled over into the community. Gyms weren't just places to click pictures for social media. They were temples of steel and sweat, filled with iron brotherhood. Guys like Flex Wheeler and Sean Ray weren't just rivals. They were friends, pushing each other to greater heights. Of course, 90s were also a dark era, full of steroids and questionable training methods. That's part of the story, but don't let that overshadow the dedication, the artistry, the sheer love for the bodybuilding they had. These guys weren't just chemical creations. They were pioneers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible, paving the way for future generations of iron warriors. It was the era when a new level of bodybuilding began, which has set a precedent for what we see today in modern bodybuilding. And who knows, maybe one day someone will look back on our modern day era and call it the golden age of something else. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe.